Hi everyone, welcome to another video. I thought that I would do a book haul before I went to YALC. So this is a pre-YALC book haul because I imagine I'm going to get quite a few books while I'm in London. YALC is part of London Comic Con and it's basically the YA section of that. So I'm expecting to buy quite a few books while I'm there. So I thought I should do a quick book haul to show you what I've got. I have a mixture of things here. I've got some books that were sent to me for review. I'm not going to include ebooks because there are quite a few of those and I don't really know if you're interested, but if you are, let me know and I can do a separate ebook arc haul. And then I'll just put the pictures on screen or show you on my Kindle or something. Just let me know in the comments below. And then I've got books that I've bought, and then I've got books that I got at the Golank/Orion event a couple of weeks ago. So a mixture of things, mostly from publishers, but also ones that I've bought myself. Starting off with the two that I got for review. The first one is Nobody Real by Stephen Camden. This is a YA contemporary about a girl who has an imaginary friend or something. That's what I'm getting from the synopsis. I haven't heard anything about this one, which doesn't surprise me because it's UK YA and a lot of BookTube is based in the US or follows US publication dates. To be honest, because I haven't heard anything about this, I don't know if I'm going to be picking it up anytime soon, but I might end up giving it to a friend or to a charity shop. If you have read this or are planning on reading this, please let me know what it's like because I would love to pick it up if I think it's potentially going to be good. Then the second one I got is The Brink of Darkness by Jeff Giles, which is the sequel to The Edge of Everything, which I think is a sci-fi/fantasy book. I do own the first one, and I received that one for review as well from Bloomsbury, but I haven't read it yet because I got it unsolicited, so I was under no obligation to. But now that I have the sequel, I'm actually quite interested in reading this. The only thing is it's blurbed by Cassandra Clare, and kind of seeing her name on it puts me off the book a little bit because I don't like the way that she writes, and also I'm worried that this is going to turn into more of a romance than sci-fi. Next are the books that I bought myself, and some of them I've already read. The first one is The Astonishing Colour of After by Emily X.R. Pang. This one sounds incredible, and from what I can tell, it's making book bloggers cry. So I'm quite interested in reading it, obviously. I'm sure everyone already knows what it's about, but just in case you don't, it's about a girl who I believe is half Taiwanese and her mother dies. She kills herself. The main character, Lee, goes to Taiwan to meet her grandparents or to visit her grandparents, and she believes that her mother has now taken the form of a bird and is following her and guiding her. And I think it sounds amazing. I have been putting off reading it for the past couple of weeks just because I want a free weekend so I can do that because it's quite a big book and I don't think I'll be able to read it all in one day. I think it's nearly 500 pages. So I want to set aside some time to actually get into it and read it. I then bought All of This Is True. This has been getting a lot of hype lately. It's been marketed as a YA thriller, but it isn't. It's basically about a group of girls who befriended an author and the author betrayed them by writing about them, and the author basically took inspiration from their friend's life and something their friend was dealing with. She found out about it and kind of exposed him, and this was a very dangerous thing to do for reasons. And it's told in mixed media. There are some interviews and there's a book within a book, which is some people might like. I think it had potential, but I didn't really enjoy it, so I'm gonna probably be getting rid of this one even though I've just hauled it. I bought The Exact Opposite of Okay by Laura Stephen. This book was fantastic. It's a feminist YA contemporary. The main character is basically bullied and slut-shamed, and it's a very good commentary on that, and I thought it was very, very interesting. The writing is kind of on the younger side of YA, but I wouldn't say that holds it back or anything. I loved it, and apparently there's going to be a sequel. Save the Date by Morgan Matson, which I've already spoken about in my June wrap-up. I've read this already, obviously, and I really enjoyed it. It's told over a period of 3 days, one weekend, and the main character's sister is getting married. The entire family is gathering together for what is going to be the last time in this house. It's basically a story about letting go and of family. I really enjoyed it, although it's not my favourite Morgan Matson book. I just thought it was too chaotic and it kind of put me on edge a little bit, so didn't love it, but it was still really, really good. A Closed and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers, which is the second book in the Wayfarers trilogy. I read the first book and loved it. I've spoken about that in my June wrap-up as well, but I haven't picked this one up yet because I'm hesitant. It follows a character who I'm not particularly keen on. I don't hate them, but I'm also not really bothered. I don't know why I would want to read their story, so can someone please convince me to pick up this book, because at the moment I'm just not too sure. And finally, the last book that I bought was Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is obviously a sci-fi book. Humans leave Earth, they go to another planet, there are already things on this planet that probably want to eat them. My friend Justine read this recently and she loved it, so I picked it up when I saw it in the charity shop. I just couldn't resist. It's a huge book. While the writing is kind of like, you know, normal size, it will take me a while to get through, so I haven't picked it up yet. But when I'm in a sci-fi mood, I think if I'm not going to read Becky Chambers, I might read this because it does sound really, really good. And finally, I'm quickly going to get onto the books that I got at the blogger event. The first one is Little Eve by Katrina Ward. The author was at the event, and that's probably the only reason I picked this up, because it doesn't sound like my normal kind of thing. But she sold it really well. From what I can tell, she writes kind of like gothic horror. This book is set in a very small town, and I think someone's murdered or something, and people look into it. I'm not really sure, to be honest. I'm not going to sell this book well, but she made it sound very, very good, so I'm gonna read it. The Last Namsara by Kristen Cicerelli. This is about a girl who's a dragon slayer, and I've been meaning to pick this book up for like a year, but I haven't done so yet. But now that I have this shiny new paperback, which just came out in the UK, I'm going to make an effort to read it very soon, and then I can read the sequel as well, which is a companion book, I believe, set in the same world. Swords Point by Ellen Kushner. This is apparently a fantasy classic. It came out in the late 1900s, which is a ridiculous time frame for me to give you, but I can't remember if it was the 70s, 80s or 90s. To be honest, I'm not really sure what it's about. They did explain it at the event, but I can't remember what exactly they said about it, but they made it sound really, really good, and I would be interested in reading fantasy that was written back then, because I want to see how it's kind of like shaped the genre. This has been described as swashbuckling, so I'm hoping there's going to be pirates. Raven Cry by Ed McDonald, which is the second book in the Blackwing series or trilogy. I haven't read the first book yet, but I do own it, and my boyfriend read it last year when I received it as an advanced reader's copy, and he loved it. I'm going to be picking this series up soon now that I've got this beautiful cover. I think it's great. You can see how the wings are shining. I'm going to be picking this up probably after YALC, I imagine, because it's quite big. And finally, the last book that I got at the event, and the final book of this book haul, is Empire of Silence by Christopher Rocchio. This is a sci-fi fantasy book. It's about a guy called Hadrian who is known as the Sun Killer, or the Sun Eater. It's the first book in the Sun Eater series. And this guy is famous for saving people and also for ruining people's lives. So he's on this planet and he's forced to fight as a gladiator, and I think it sounds like everything that I would love. It is enormous, so I'm going to have to put some effort into reading this. But I also think it sounds incredible, so I'm going to make an effort to read it soon. Those are all the books that I got recently. Let me know which ones you think I should pick up soon, or what your opinions on them are. I'll be back soon with another video. I'm hoping to do a couple of tags and reviews and maybe an unhaul as well, because I've got a lot of books that I need to get rid of. I'll speak to you all in my next video. Bye!